I got snookered by this bottle of whiskey. And full disclosure, it was my own lack of due diligence that allowed it to happen. I'm Captain Mike, this is Whiskey and Witerature. I talk about whiskey and books, and today it is whiskey. This year I'm doing a new to Me Distillery Series, trying to find new bottles to enjoy or distilleries to avoid. And that's what led me to this Fordham Lee High Rye Bourbon. I always keep my eyes out for new bottles to use for this series, and this one piqued my interest for two reasons. First of all, it's a high rye bourbon I like. Second, Fordham Lee is from Maryland, and other than Sagamore Spirits, I don't think I've had any other whiskey from Maryland. Again, it was my fault for allowing this to happen, for not doing something that I almost always do when I buy a new bottle of whiskey, and it's something that I tell guys to do all the time when you're buying whiskey that you're unfamiliar with. But let's talk about what Fordham Lee says about their whiskey, and then I'll tell you what I think about the whiskey. Let's start with the bottle here. That's the first thing you see when you're searching for a new bottle of whiskey. And it's an average looking bottle shape. The label I think is actually fairly nice. It is very busy, but it's embossed, slightly embossed, and has this metallic looking label, and it kind of eye catches. I think it's a great color, and but let's go through what it says. All right, proudly crafted in the United States of America, Fordham Lee Distillery, a spirit worth remembering. Handcrafted, small batch, produced with our heart and soul. Locally crafted in Middleton, Maryland. Dedicated to family and a spirit of fun. Handcrafted in small batches, Middleton, Maryland. Grain to glass spirits by a family of distillers with a passion for great taste and good times. High rye bourbon. Limited production, locally crafted. Maryland, again, enjoy chilled on the rocks. That's the bottle. Turning to their website, this is under their story. Okay? Fordham Lee Distillery began its story in Middleton, Maryland, a hidden gem tucked away. The exquisite spirits we produce exist to honor the legacy of those who taught us the importance of good living. Our bourbons and cream-based whiskeys are all grain to glass using non-GMO ingredients sourced from local farms. Over the years, we've focused on building the finest facilities and distillation technology to produce our world-class spirits. If I go to our products and high rye bourbon, we age our high rye bourbon whiskey for over 5 years in new charred American oak barrels. Fordham Lee, let's see, the bourbon flows from barrel to bottle with no added flavors or colorings. Aged to taste in charred new oak barrels, 5+ years. Zero added flavors, colors, or BS. It's just the bourbon. Okay, so that's what they say on the website and on the bottle. So if you had read that, if you went into the store, you picked this up, you read that information, perhaps even went to the website if you're that into it, what would you think about this whiskey produced in Maryland? So I had this bottle for about 2 weeks before it just sat on the shelf, and then I kind of went to it one day to, hey, let's read a bit more about it if we can, and open it up and see what's going on with it. Looking at it again, look on the back, Fordham Lee Distillery. Our handcrafted bourbon is distilled in small batches using only the best grains. Bottled by Fordham Lee Distillery, Middleton, Maryland. Distilled in Indiana. It's MGP. Would you have understood from anything that I read from the front of the bottle or from the website that this is MGP? Now, I guess there's other distilleries in Maryland, but I assume that if the back of your bottle says distilled in Indiana, that you're probably, chances are, you're MGP. And straight up, I have no problem with MGP. Some of the best bourbon and rye whiskey that I've drank this year has been MGP products. That Penelope Estate Collection single barrel, yes please. Every day, all day, that is, I think, one of the best whiskeys I've drank this year. So I do not have a problem with MGP whiskey. I don't have a problem with producers putting out whiskey that is from MGP. I mean, I'm a huge fan of High West, and they blend almost all of the whiskeys with MGP, so I don't have a problem with it. But there's one word on this whole bottle and everything that I've read, and that's Indiana. And I just feel like there's some marketing going on here. They're just not being as transparent. And to me, I just feel like I got snookered a little bit. I don't have the bottle of bourbon, and I was going to look at it today at the store, and I didn't. Though I saw a review of their bourbon, and it said on the back of that, not the high rye bourbon, the regular bourbon, and the picture of the back of it said it was distilled in North Carolina. So there's that. And that's how I feel like I was snookered by this bottle. And would I have bought it regardless? I do really enjoy MGP's high rye bourbon. So that's not really a problem for me. But this series that I'm doing, this new to Me Distillery Series this year, I probably would not have bought this bottle to use for this series. I have broken, I've been trying to get for this series bottles that are affordable, available, and that from distilleries that distill their own whiskey. Though it is fairly difficult to find that many new distilleries that distill their own whiskey, and it's also available and affordable. So I have done other reviews of whiskeys that don't meet all of those criteria. So maybe I would have bought it, maybe I wouldn't have. I'm just trying to not have, half of all my new to me Distillery Series bottles this year be MGP stuff. And that's all I'm saying about being snookered. I mean, obviously it says it on the back. So they could say, well, you just didn't read the back, Mike. And you're right. But most consumers, I don't think, read the back of the bottle to see where it was distilled. So just some transparency. That's all I would have had preferred than to be thinking that I was bringing home a Maryland whiskey. The only other thing I'm going to point out about this distillery, or about this bottle specifically, is that it's not labeled straight. And I don't know why it's not labeled straight. Now, the information on the bottle, it could be not straight whiskey. The information on the website, which I don't think is really legally binding, but that information pretty much says it would qualify for straight whiskey. I just think if you put out a product that would qualify for this designator straight whiskey, you would put it on the label somewhere, because it does mean something to people. I do know people who would not buy this bottle simply because it does not say straight on the front. I do understand that some smaller craft distilleries are putting other words on the bottle in lieu of straight whiskey, even though their whiskey does qualify as straight. And to be a straight whiskey, you have to be produced in the United States and aged for a minimum of 2 years in new charred oak, no additives, and no other spirits added to the whiskey. And then you can be labeled straight. Did I say a minimum of 2 years? I'm not sure if I hit all of those. But from what I read on the website, this does qualify as straight. So I'm like, why don't they have the word straight on? I mean, and if they think they have all the stuff on the front here and they just couldn't find a space for the word straight, I mean, look how busy that label is. It's very busy. You have Maryland on here twice. You have a lot of stuff you could have. I mean, the word small batch means nothing legally. There's no meaning to that, whereas straight does. So I don't understand. I do have other whiskeys that I really enjoy, and looking at the websites, it seems to be straight. So maybe I just can't believe they we don't feel like it's important to put the word straight on there. So just makes you go, well, why not? Why not? But maybe that's not important to you. I mean, but to me, I think it should be. And again, I didn't even notice that when I purchased the bottle. It's something that I usually look for. I was in a bit of a hurry that day, so obviously I didn't look at the back of the bottle and didn't look for the word straight. But The specs and stats for the bottle, well, essentially we don't know almost anything about this whiskey other than we don't know the mash bill. It's not disclosed. It's non-age stated. Website says it's at least 5 years old, but it doesn't say they were on the bottle, so I don't know if that's legally binding. Is what the website says legally binding? Honestly, I don't think so. It has to be on the label. It's bottled at 86 proof, so that's a little low proof, I think, for a high rye bourbon. And I paid $55 for the bottle. I believe the MSRP is $49. So for my new to Me Distillery series, what I've been trying to do is get at least about halfway through the bottle before filming in order to give you the best possible review of my thoughts about the whiskey. I do really like this bourbon. It's not really exceptional though. I do wonder, is this MGP's 21% or 36% rye bourbons? I don't think it's the 36%, possibly the 21%, because really if you get less than that, I don't even consider that a high rye bourbon, but other distilleries do. And interestingly, I'm not sure I've had such a low proof MGP high rye bourbon. Typically when you find these in the Penelopes and the Rare Characters and in the Redemption and other these, you find them in a much higher proof. So that's just a little bit different. It does have a decent light to medium mouth feel. It is caramel sweetness with overlying cinnamon and rye spice. Light vanilla and citrus, and it has a fading, lingering, rye bready notes that just kind of hang with me for quite a while. The low proof, I think it does make it a nice, easy sipper for the evening time. What I do really hope is that Fordham Lee has their own stock and that they're aging it to taste, like they say on their website, aging it to taste, and that in the future they're going to put out their own stock of their own distillates, or even just go like the High West route, who are, can't seem to wean themselves from the MGP teat, and they just continue to blend their own stock with MGP and other distiller stocks to put out their whiskey. And I think that's fine. To hit a bigger audience and a wider distribution, sometimes I guess you have to do that if you can't ramp up your own production enough. So I do hope that, I like Whistle Pig as well. Whistle Pig's putting out, they've been on the Canadian whiskey train for a long time, and they're putting out bourbon now, so they distill themselves. Also, their 6-year rye has gone to their own production instead of their sourcing the whiskey. Same thing for Pendleton's, putting out a bourbon as well now. So I think that's great. And hopefully Fordham Lee, there's no indication on the website how old they are, how long they've been around, even who the founders are. I couldn't really see that on quick looking at the website. So I don't know how long they've been in production, how long possibly they have whiskey stock aging. For now, I am not going to purchase any more of their whiskey or bourbons. Hopefully in the future, like I said, they're putting out their own stuff, and then maybe at that point, I'll come back and give a second look to Fordham Lee. All right, guys, thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, like it, it's free. Subscribe to see more of my content. Again, I talk about whiskey and books. But for now, my friends, you know what to do. I hope you're reading something good and drinking something great, and wear that damn hat. Cheers.